Hello, my name is Gary Walls. Welcome to my episode 21 of my channel. This is going to be a quick strike video on the game I took to salute last month, Wellington at Bay, Scenario 3 from my book, Wellington's Counterattack. So a quick campaign background. The battle took place during the retreat from Burgos in October 1812. Villamuriel was the biggest battle that took place during the retreat, and the night before the battle, Wellington had brought his army back to the River Carrion, and his left was at Palencia, and his right was at Duenas, and in the centre he held the town of, or the village of, Villamuriel del Curato, and it was there that the action was fought. The advance guard of Suam's army of Portugal was made up of General de Division Macoun of Salamanca fame, and he had his own division and the division of Gautier at his disposal. He sent Gautier forward to Duenas, and they crossed the River Pisuerga at Tariego, but he heard about the occupation of Villamuriel from his scouts and diverted his own 5th Division towards the river and reached the village of Calabazanos across the river from Villamuriel. So this map shows the battlefield at Villamuriel. There are a couple of points to make. The River Carrion was in full spate, having had several days of rain leading up to the battle, and so consequently could only be crossed at the bridge, where there was a bridge and a ford, and also at the ford near Calabazanos. The other feature of note was the Canal de Castilla, which was only half built at the time of war breaking out, and so consequently it was dry. It was deep, and you couldn't see out of it if you stood on the bottom, and offered a significant obstacle. So this is the order of battle. The 5th Portuguese Division on the Allied side was supported by the 1st Division of the 6th or Galician Spanish Army, and they contributed 1 brigade of 2 battalions. In all, 5,500 men and 6 guns. Facing them was the 5th Division of the Army of Portugal, repeating their Salamanca conflict, and those 8 battalions were supported by the Light Cavalry Brigade of De Fosse, which was idle during this scenario, and more importantly a reserve horse artillery company. In all, nearly 6,000 men and 10 guns. The game was played with black powder and 15mm figures, and the key feature of the game is that buildings can't be garrisoned because of the wine that was readily available, so both sides refused to garrison the building. My skirmishers I tend to put on these 6cm square movement trays to try and reflect the correct frontage and depth, and I always allow them to count as light cover if they've moved less than 6 centimetres in the move. The game lasts 8 turns from just after 4 p.m. till the end of dusk, with the French starting the game. Right, to win, the Allies have to get their brigades to the banks of the Carrion without being broken, while the French have to remain on the Allied side of the river with 1 or more unbroken brigades. And this photograph shows you the table with James in the background. It doesn't really show the high ground as well on the left of the table. That goes up to 9 layers of Hexon terrain. COVID precautions meant we were masked up, and so I obtained some suitably themed masks for the day. So let's have a look at the deployment on the table. The small photograph there shows the view from the Allied position overlooking the village of Villamuriel. And here's Darnold's 1st Brigade of the 5th Division with a lot of skirmishers deployed along the edge of the canal, in some cases across the canal. Montfort has most of his force on the French side of the river, but has a skirmish screen and a battalion on the Allied side, moving up towards the canal. Meanwhile, the cavalry essentially looked on through the whole afternoon. With the bridge broken, the artillery for Macon was restricted to staying on the French side of the river. On the Allies, you can see here highlighted Barnes's brigade of 3 battalions and Pringle's 2nd brigade of 4 battalions. And on the left, Lenien's brigade of 2 battalions of Spanish infantry. And on the right, we have Spry's Portuguese, a quite strong Portuguese brigade of 5 battalions. So the game began with the French skirmishers trying to outflank the Spanish position on their right, followed by the steady but slow advance of the British brigades down the steep slopes of the hills towards Villamuriel. This close-up of the French advance shows that by the end of turn 1, both the skirmishers and the Spanish infantry had been disordered by their respective. The Spanish infantry were all wavering, and so as soon as they had a casualty, they had to take a break test, and the 1st Asturias broke at the first time of asking. However, Lenin got his revenge by charging the other battalion into the skirmish screen, which was unable to evade far enough and was broken. And here you can see Barnes and Pringle advancing to the canal. And in response, Darnold's tirailleurs fall back before this advance. Darnold formed his battalions into line to receive Pringle's attack. Meanwhile, the tirailleurs of the 66th line fell back before Barnes's advance. Overcoming his poor staff rating, Spry managed to advance his brigade to the canal. The response to Barnes's advance had been to create this killing ground with infantry on both sides and the artillery waiting for any further advancement, and this caused Barnes to hesitate. However, Pringle pressed on to advance on the waiting French. And one of Spry's battalions charged the French skirmish screen and managed to break them as they were unable to evade far enough. Despite these successes, Barnes hesitated in the canal. On the in the centre, the 1st 9th Foot was shaken by the fire of the waiting French infantry. But on the right, the 2nd, 3rd Portuguese line managed to get to the banks of the River Carrion and face off against Montfort's supporting battalion. So at that time, it was dark. Looking at the victory conditions, the French had certainly achieved their goal of retaining one of their brigades, Darnold's brigade, on the Allied side of the river, unbroken. The Allies only got 1 battalion to the banks of the Carrion, and so in conclusion, we decided that the Allies hadn't achieved their victory conditions while the French had. So the game ended in a French win. It was good to see that the game got mentioned in the Miniature Wargames review of Salute, so I was happy to see that and the picture accompanying it. Well, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video, brief though it is. And if you liked it, please look out for my book and the other videos on my YouTube channel. I'd like to thank my subscribers for continuing to support me and hope more of you will join them. Goodbye.